Leafs keep the good times rolling with a win at the Garden. That's 3 in a row for the Buds. You're listening to the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.
You're Locked On Maple Leafs, your daily podcast on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome into the Locked On Leafs podcast, a daily Maple Leaf-centric podcast hosted by myself, Mike DiStefano, and my co-host, Dave Morassutti. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. If you placed a $5 wager on the Maple Leafs on the money line, who are actually the underdogs coming into this game, Dave, you just scored yourself an extra $200 in bonus bets because the Maple Leafs beat the New York Rangers in their own building. 4-3 was the final. That's 3 straight wins for the Buds. All is well again in Leafland, Dave, isn't it?
It is. It's crazy what 3 games does. It's really crazy what 3 games does.
Like we're recording this right now. It's Thursday night. Right? Thursday night after the Rangers game. Think about how different our tone is talking about this team, the optimism we have again for this team compared to Saturday night after the loss to Ottawa. It's completely night and day. It just goes to show how much at this point in the season, 1 week or a string of 3 games can kind of change the outlook on how you feel about a team. And not to say that I think they're completely back and I'm completely bought in. At the end of the day, we still got to see what they got come April when push comes to shove. But the way that they played the last 3 games, and again, quality performance, against the Rangers here in the victory, against them at the Garden on the road, good 2 points that they were able to pick up. You definitely feel a heck of a lot better about their chances of being a competitive team come springtime than you did a week ago.
Yeah, and just look at the standings, right? Like we were talking on Monday how the Ottawa Senators were calling right up the Leafs, right behind them, right?
If I'm not mistaken, they crawled to within 2 points of the Leafs after that win. They were within 2 points of Toronto
like 2 or 4
Saturday
points.
night.
Like it was like pretty close.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, and I remember coming on the podcast and we're like, man, at this point, the Maple Leafs, like, forget the division. They might fall out and be in the wild card race. And here we are 3 games later, again, tied for the division with the Florida Panthers. And there's still a couple games to go against the Panthers. The Florida, they've got a couple injuries. They went to overtime against Columbus last night, and Toronto, nice clean victory against a Rangers squad that, they're it's been an up and down season for them. That's still a good team. That's a good goalie to score 4 times against. I think you got to be happy with the way Toronto's played lately, and definitely happy about the victory against the Rangers. What did you really take away from that win, Dave?
It wasn't. It was a good win, but it wasn't like the one where I'd be like they played like it was like a clean game. There were still some areas I feel like they could have tightened up a bit, but I mean, I like that they came out, scored the first goal. They allowed the late goal in the first. What did they do? They responded with an even later goal in the first. It was kind of like that pushback. If anytime the Rangers felt like they had any momentum, the Leafs, they were momentum killers tonight. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. There was a bit of a back and forth. I thought it was going to be one of those games where it was going to be like last shot wins it, and it almost was. But yeah, I mean, like, given where we were a week ago, seeing them score 4 goals, you gotta be pretty happy about that, right? Because this is a team that was struggling to put up offense, right? They outchanced the Rangers, high danger chances. They had the advantage in the expected goals. Like they're starting to get those things kind of working in line with them more than they were, the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I think it's just because everyone seems to be coming together at the right time. I think if you're a Leafs fan, You got to be happy about that. Like sometimes it's about timing, and Toronto seemed to be getting hot at the right time. Typically, you want to start heating up a few weeks away from the playoffs and ride that momentum. That's exactly what the Florida Panthers did a couple of years ago when they went on to beat Boston as the 8 seed and went all the way, or well, wild card seed, whatever you want to call it, second wild card, and went all the way to the Stanley Cup final. Eventually got eliminated and lost to Vegas, but hey, they went to the Cup final, right? So that's where Toronto is right now and have a chance to go on that run if they can keep it going. That's 3 in a row here. They've been a very streaky team all season long, really, but now is a time where they got to hunker down. And what I think is very positive too, Dave, is remember the comments from Austin Matthews after that loss to Ottawa Saturday, and he came out and said, we got to wrap our heads around the fact that we're playing playoff games here. Like everyone's trying to get points off everyone at this time of year, and this is going to be difficult. We're playing against teams that are battling for positioning in the playoffs, battling for spots, like the Colorado Avalanche, who are trying to get home ice advantage away from the Dallas Stars in their matchup, like the New York Rangers, who are a point out of the playoff spot. So valuable 2 points here in this game. And, the Calgary Flames were in the exact same boat on Monday. They're battling alongside, Vancouver and St. Louis for that final spot in the West. So they've been playing playoff-esque games. And I think when you watch how the games have been played, it looks and feels like the playoffs a little bit. And I think what I noticed tonight, it's interesting you said that there was, maybe a little bit going on. You thought that they were a little loosey-goosey. I thought they were actually very well structured tonight. I thought the Maple Leafs did a good job of playing well defensively, kind of as a 5-man unit. They forced 21 giveaways, and a lot of that was positioning. The Maple Leafs did a really good job of picking up pucks in the neutral zone or in the defensive zone and, getting and intercepting passes and getting in the lanes. Like, couple times, William Nylander did a really good job of doing this, and quickly, boom, transition up ice, and they were able to, generate some offense and generate some scoring chances off that quick strike transition game. And that's something that I think Toronto really needs to do a lot more. And I think that is how I think maybe that's how Craig Berube is realizing, okay, it can't just be 100% completely offense, and it can't all just be down low cycle. This team is dangerous off the rush, and that's how they've been dangerous the last few years. So, hey, when you get those opportunities, you intercept the puck, you get that team on their heels, then you can attack at that point and go full throttle. And at that point, play some good rush offense. And I think we saw a little bit of that tonight. So I thought the team tonight, my biggest takeaway was they played fairly well structured hockey and didn't allow New York much of anything. Like if you look at the heat map, there's not a whole lot in and around the goaltender. Like Stolarz didn't have many grade A saves that he had to make. There was the one late in the game on Panarin. I thought that was a good grade A. But overall, I mean, you look at the Rangers and the underlying numbers, they had 5 high danger chances the entire game at 5-on-5. Just 5 high danger chances. That's a real solid performance for the Maple Leafs defensively.
It is. And I look at the fact that it wasn't just the offense that the defense provided too, right? They were getting into the mix offensively. It did feel more like a 5-man unit. Now, I do feel like I'm still thinking the bottom 6 is still a work in progress.
Yeah.
I do think that, but that's also where I think the top 6 has really picked up the slack in a lot of ways, right? You're not getting easy minute. Like if you're a team right now going up against Leafs top 6, you have not had an easy time.
No.
The last 3 games. Hasn't been easy. They've really dug in. And I think maybe that's where that message from Saturday came from, right? When Craig Berube told, we need to decide in the room if we want it, right? Not 5 minutes left in the third period to decide to really push for it right from the start, get it going. I think we've seen a lot more of that these last 3 games.
100%. Like we absolutely have seen that. And tonight, like in the game against Colorado, I think the first line shined really well in that one, both offensively and defensively. Tonight, I thought it was the second line that really, really dictated they were dominant, like pure dominant. And I think Bobby McManus solidified himself in the top 6. Like I think we got our top 6 here. And you said still some things to mix around in the bottom 6, but Bob McMahon looked real good tonight alongside Tavares and Nylander. I mean, you just look at the numbers. They outshot their opponents 10-3. 12-4 were the scoring chances while those three were on the ice. High danger chance differential 7-1. They allowed just one high danger chance and generated 7. They scored 3 times tonight. So,
and Mike, how many times did they start in the defensive zone?
Quite often, because 10 defensive zone faceoffs, only 33% of the time they started in the offensive zone. So, John Tavares doing a good job in the draws, winning the faceoff and transitioning upward, but also when they lost, they were playing good defense and they were able to get the puck and go up ice. That's what I meant. The takeaways and the turnovers tonight, like that line in particular forced a lot of those turnovers. And they were able to capitalize and get the puck going up ice and spent a lot of time in the offensive end, despite starting in the defensive end. That's exactly what you want to see out of that group. And this top 6, that's when this team is at the most dangerous they can be. If they got all 6 of those guys going offensively, you've got finally looks like this team has a pretty solidified top 4 with 2 pairings that are really gelling in 200 feet of the game, like Tanev and Jake McCabe tonight. Again, excellent defensively, but guess what else? They were also contributing offensively. Jake McCabe jumping up into the rush. Jake McCabe, 3 assists tonight. 3 assists for Jake McCabe. And Brendan Carlo and Morgan Riley, again, a pretty solid night for those 2 as well. So it's all starting to kind of come together for the Leafs here at the right time. It's very encouraging. I'm not sitting here, I'm not planning the parade, and I'm not writing down, like what Corwin McCallum does after every kind of, Leafs win or situation where he starts to jot down the Stanley Cup handoff. I'm not going there quite yet. It's only 3 games. It's a small sample size, but it's trending in the right direction, and it's starting to look and smell like a playoff caliber team and one that could perform and possibly go on a bit of a run. And let's also not forget about the goaltending. Anthony Stolarz had an excellent night between the pipes against a Rangers team here. Again, wasn't tested a whole lot with a lot of grade A's, but he made the stops he had to, and hey, he made one more save than Igor Shesterkin did on the other side, and that's ultimately what you're asking of your goaltender.
Yeah, it's nice to see how much is he making in the 3?
What do you make? 2.8, I think. Was it 2.8 possibly? I think it's pretty cheap.
Basically, the $2 million goaltender outdoing the $11.5 million goaltender on the other side.
Yeah, 2.5. He's making $2.5 million.
I thought it was 2.5.
Yeah, the one goal combined, they're like it's like $3.3 million combined. The Maple Leafs goaltending, because Joseph Woll's still on that $800,000 deal.
Yeah,
like he's still that extension he signed this past summer kicks in next year. So they're getting absolute bargain goaltending right now. I think it's a really good sign that with 13 games to go in the season, and you still don't know who's going to be your number 1. But it's not because neither are playing well. It's because they're both playing well. Yeah. It's a good problem to have. And Stolarz, following up last night's good performance that we saw from Joseph Woll, I thought was definitely a positive to take out of tonight's game. Why don't we take a quick break? We'll come back. We'll get to the 3 stars of the game, dive a little deeper into things, and then we got another game to get set for this weekend, Leafs and Predators on Saturday night. So we'll preview that game also coming up here on the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.
Did you know getting a good night's sleep is the #1 recipe for long-term success in life? I didn't. It took me way longer to realize than I'd like to admit. It was years of tossing and turning. I was always tired. I never felt like I could live up to my potential, but not anymore. Thanks to Bear Mattress. I used their sleep quiz and I matched with the Elite Hybrid. It's perfect for side sleepers like me. Now I wake up energized. I'm getting deeper sleeps and I'm ready to attack the day. No matter how you sleep, Bear Mattress has a match for you with a focus on recovery, cooling, and pressure relief to upgrade your sleep and improve your overall quality of life. Go to bearmattress.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL at checkout for 40% off site-wide. This offer is not available anywhere else. You have to use my promo code on the very last page of checkout to get this discount. That's bearmattress.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL for 40% off site-wide. Bearmattress.com, promo code LOCKEDONNHL.
The Locked On Leafs podcast continues. Mike DiStefano, Dave Morassutti with you as we are each and every weekday, Monday through Friday, bringing you everything you need to know about your beloved Toronto Maple Leafs. You can find the Locked On Leafs podcast wherever you find your podcasts and also up on YouTube as well for the video format. Take a look at the mugs that Dave and I while we sit here and talk Leafs for about 30 minutes or so. And it's always a joyous time whenever we get to talk about a victory for the Maple Leafs. And it's now their third in a row after a 4-3 win over the New York Rangers. And as we like to do after each and every win, we go through the 3 stars of the game. Dave, why don't you start us off? Give us the first star of the game.
Gotta go with the man who got 2 goals tonight and continues to have a very productive season, and that is one John Tavares.
Productive career, .1100 tonight too.
Crazy. It's kind of crazy. Like, I mean,
like yesterday he hit 1,000. He's already up to 1,100 now.
Like, I still remember when he was like in his draft year, all the hype around him and everything.
Yes. Yeah.
And
like he was the very first ever exceptional status player. So like he always had that hype from when he was 14, 15 years old. And he's lived up to the hype, I'd say.
Yeah, 1,100 points. Not many players can say that. And yeah, he's already he's at 29 goals. He's at the same number of goals he scored last year, and he's done it in, well, he didn't play the full 18. He's done in 18 fewer games.
Not bad. Not bad at all. And you know what, too? I don't know if you got the stats right up in front of you. How many of those goals are at even strength compared to the power play? Because, the last couple of years, a lot of his production has come on the power play, and his 5-on-5 numbers were quite low. I feel like this year, his 5-on-5 production has elevated immensely.
So obviously that hasn't updated, but he got obviously 2 more even strength goals on the night, so make it 19 on the year. He had 20 at this, last year all together. He has 10 power play goals. So he's getting the power play goals, but he's already at 19, so he's going to surpass, if everything kind of goes where it's going, he's going to surpass his total. And really, this would be the highest that, if he gets past the 20 that he had last year, that'd be the most he's had since 2018-19 when he had 37. It's crazy. Like, he went from being a guy who can get maybe, 25 to 30 to 19, 13, 17, 18. Like that is kind of where the big change I think has been for Tavares. Now he's still getting his power play goals, but yeah, the even strength has really picked up. His even strength production has certainly picked up.
Yeah, I'm just let me see, at 5-on-5, I can see exactly compared to years past. So he's got 15 goals at 5-on-5 through just 62 games. That's how many he had a year ago through 80 games, and he had 16 goals through 80 games the year before that, 15 the year before that. He's going to surpass far beyond what he's been doing at 5-on-5 goal scoring, dating back to his first season in Toronto, where he put up 47, 48 goals, 33 goals that year at 5-on-5, and he hasn't surpassed 16 since then. While there's 14 games to go, he's already at 15. He's probably going to get into the 20s, which is somewhere he hasn't been since before. I mean, taking away his first year in Toronto, the last time he had 20, excluding that season, was before Austin Matthews got into the league. So it's really quite something that we're seeing him put forward, the amount of offense this season that he really just had not been doing previously. And it's really something to behold. And I wanted to give love to the whole second line, to be quite honest with you, because I thought as a line, those guys were phenomenal tonight. Let me just read off their stat sheet with the three of those guys, Bobby McMahon, John Tavares, and William Nylander, out on the ice. In terms of shot attempts, they had 60% of the shot attempts. They had 76% of the shots, outshot their opponents 10-3. They were scored 3 goals between them, a 92% expected goals on the night, 92%, with 12-4 were the scoring chances and 7-1 high danger chance differential. So they were just pure domination from start to finish, and certainly wanted to give a little extra love to JT as well for the 2-goal performance there for him. But yes, those that second line was tremendous tonight.
They were tremendous, and I mean, I don't know if you follow hockey stat cards. They grade players' performances after every game.
Yep.
By far and away, they were the best trio on the ice. And like you
felt it.
Up,
you see it.
Yeah.
You saw like
you
eye
saw,
test, the numbers,
yeah.
the car, like everything shows you, tells you that those three were the best 3 players on the ice tonight.
And that, and in a position where you can, it's on the road, so it's not like you can give them easier minutes either, right? You're earning you're earning it when you're playing on the road too. On the second night of a back-to-back too.
Yeah. Impressive night from those 3, and I think we'll see them get a pretty long look here moving forward, and that I think top 6 is now solidified going into the postseason. That's probably what we're going to see be rolled out. And then we've still got a little bit of configurating doing down in the bottom 6. But there's 14 games still to figure that out. The second star of the game, Dave.
Oh, that's got to be Jake McCabe.
Yeah.
What a 2-game stretch. Like, he's been good. The last 2 games, he's been phenomenal.
He's played like a number 1. He's played like a number 1. Truly.
You go up, you had to go the night before against Nathan McKinnon, who and the Avalanche, who you allowed only 1 goal against. By the way, Senators, how did you do against McKinnon and the Avalanche on the second night of a back-to-back?
It was 4-0 before I could sit down on the couch. So not well.
Yeah. What did Jake McCabe do for an encore? Just 3 assists. Absolutely dominate when it came to the high danger chances too. Like, I don't think Jake McCabe actually allowed a single high danger chance when he was on the ice tonight. At 5:05. At 5:05.
That is correct. No, 1. He allowed one high danger chance, I believe.
It was either him or Tanev did, but like this is that top pairing that you're going to be able to rely on against the other team's top lines, right? Like the Rangers, they had their chances tonight, but Jake McCabe and Chris Tanev had a response. But they just continue to be excellent, and it's almost the only thing you always worry about with these two is will they be like the injury concerns.
You were right, by the way. At 5-on-5, yeah, he allowed 0 high danger chances. I had it at all situations. You're right. At 5-on-5, not a single high danger chance given up. And that's a guy that had 25% ozone starts, which means again, he's starting nearly every single shift in the defensive end and still not allowing anything against his goaltender.
It's funny enough because Oliver Ekman-Larsson played the most at 5-on-5 among all defense among everyone tonight. McCabe was second, and obviously McCabe had probably the tougher matchup between the two because Oliver Ekman-Larsson played a lot in the offensive zone. But yeah, like I've just been so. Like you talked about how much the Leafs are paying their goaltending this year. Jake McCabe only counts against $2 million on the cap this year. He's still in that to retain salary from Chicago. Thank you, Chicago, for that, by the way. It did cost the Leafs a little bit more because they had to give up a little bit more in return, but well worth the investment, I would say.
I would have to agree with you. And, he's going to cost a little bit more next year. He's got a $5 million contract for the
no.
next
How
4 or
could we
5
ever
years.
afford that for a top pairing defenseman?
Exactly. And you look at the pairing of Chris Tanev and Jake McCabe tonight as a pair, 82% expected goals. And as you mentioned, did not give up a single high danger chance, despite only 25% ozone faceoff. So yeah, quite the evening for those two guys. And it's been quite the week for those two. And keep in mind, when this team was struggling, remember, Chris Tanev missed 6 games there. And that was a big reason for why they were struggling. And even like you look at the night, like Jake McCabe picks up 3 assists. He was activating all night long. He wasn't doing that when he was partnered up with Morgan Riley or when he was partnered up with Oliver Ekman-Larsson or Simone Benoit. He was only doing that and only doing it because he has that familiarity, that chemistry, and that comfort that Chris Tanev will pick him up. And he's able to activate like that and play really just play freely and just do things as it comes to him. The game's coming to him right now. And I think it's because he knows that he's got a reliable defensive partner with him. And together, those two have been phenomenal and again, great tonight. So I had the pairing as my second star. And then I have Anthony Stolarz as the third star of the night here for me for the Toronto Maple Leafs. A couple of goals. I mean, what are you going to do? Tough tips there and redirections. It's I didn't think he had any softies. That's for sure for Anthony Stolarz tonight, but he did enough to get the Maple Leafs to victory. So I gave him the third star.
Yeah, I think he earned it. Especially with the conversation after Joseph Woll's performance. A little more extra pressure on Stolarz to come out and match it, right? So I did like, obviously maybe, you kind of hope one of the goals he stops, but like with the way the Leafs were playing tonight, they gave, this is one of those games where Stolarz finally got the support where maybe he wasn't getting it before, right? Because you let a bad goal and it's like, well, this team is really struggling to put up offense. You can't allow a goal like that, right? Now on a night like this, like the Leafs were leading, so I just give the goalie a little bit more comfort to know that you've got his back, and I think that's what the Leafs did tonight.
Absolutely. So another solid performance from Anthony Stolarz as well. His first win, though, in the month of March, which is kind of an eye-opening stat when you think about it. It took him 20 games to win a game this month, or 20 days to win a game this month. But he's been one of the better goaltenders in the league all season long. But finally gets into the win column here, and definitely his best performance in his last few starts. And as you mentioned, much needed because he's now locked into a battle for that starting job come game 1 of the playoffs. And I think it's still up for grabs, and there's 14 games to go. We'll see who ends up getting the nod. I'm curious who you believe might get the nod Saturday night against the Nashville Predators. Don't answer it now. We'll answer it next when we tee up the game live here on the Locked On Leafs podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Daylight savings snuck up on us again, and if you're feeling that lost hour sleep, 5 Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little boost to power through. Whether you're staying up late, watching the NCAA tournament, squeezing in around a golf after work, or just trying to keep up with the busy day, 5 Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. I've been staying up late, watching the tournament action, and the 5 Hour Energy helps me keep up the next day. And let me tell you, with the longer days, I love getting outside for a little walk. I like to go and explore downtown Toronto a little bit, and a little tropical burst is my go-to for a quick boost. Whether you're at the game or you're traveling, 5 Hour Energy is easy to grab and keeps me feeling refreshed. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. Need one now? Grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized with 5 Hour Energy. The Locked On Leafs podcast continues. Mike DiStefano, Dave Morassutti with you. We're coming off a Maple Leafs victory 4-3 over the New York Rangers. That's now 3 in a row. And they sit tied atop of the Atlantic Division with the Florida Panthers. Same amount of games left, 14 games to go. I believe right now the Panthers have one more regulation win. So they will and do hold the tiebreaker over the Maple Leafs, but there's still 2 more games between those two, between now and the end of the season. Those will be 2 very pivotal games for deciding this division. But Toronto, they got to keep piling up points because I think Florida's going to do the same, and they'll have an opportunity going up against Nashville, who has not had a good season. They play Nashville Saturday night. Just got to keep it rolling. Go for 4 in a row. And here's the question I asked you prior to us taking a break. Who gets the call in net for you? And do you think whoever gets the call, does it say anything about who has the edge here in net or no?
I don't think just yet. I think you're going to maybe see over the last 10 games or so, they'll really start to decide. I think Joseph Woll will get the start against Nashville. I mean, I say that, but that could always change. But I just think that right now the Leafs are preparing to do.
Oh, we lost Dave. I think he's back.
Okay, I hit a wrong button. But yeah, the Leafs are about to go on their California road trip, right? So this is one of those things where maybe you just let the 2 play it out. Doesn't really matter who gets which start, and then kind of see if they can kind of battle it out. So yeah, I'm just looking they got some I'll use easier games on the schedule, right? The Predators, the Flyers, and you got the Sharks, the Kings, the Ducks. That 5-game stretch there. I don't know if one goalie can really put themselves over the other because I want to see it when they come back from the road trip and it's Florida up next. It's Columbus, it's Florida, it's Tampa. That stretch will tell me more about who the Leafs trust more as that, the guy they want to push. I don't know if we're going to see it in the next few games.
It's always tough coming home from that California road trip. Yep. And the fact that they have the Florida Panthers as the first team coming back does kind of stink. So Florida they got an advantage there, that's for sure, with the travel back. There is a couple days difference, so it's not like
Florida will also be playing the second half of a back-to-back when they come to Toronto, at least.
That's fair. So I guess that evens it out a little bit, but it's always a weird game coming back from the West Coast. But that'll be important. And then, as you mentioned, then they got Florida again just 6 days later on April 8th in Florida that time. That would be the first game of a back-to-back. Then they're in Tampa the next night for a second game of the back-to-back. So it's a tough sked. They're, not necessarily opponents wise that they believe they have the second easiest schedule remaining between now and the end of the season. But in terms of, how it's stacking up dates wise, it's a lot of hockey to play in less than a month, 14 games in less than a month for the Maple Leafs. Things wrap up on the 17th and we're already at the 21st. So less than a month away and still 14 games to go for Toronto. A couple back-to-backs involved there as well. And honestly, a majority of these are road games too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 road games the rest of the way as well. So bit of a tough schedule, but that's why I think it's imperative to be picking up points against teams like the Nashville Predators, Dave. These, and it's not that I want to sit here and say Nashville's, the worst team, and it's a mandatory that you beat teams like this, and there's no easy games in the NHL, I guess is what I'm getting at. But this is a team that's really struggled all season long. They really have, and they've lost
3 goals in the last 4 games.
They can't score. They literally cannot score. They lost 4-1 to Anaheim, 4-1 to St. Louis. They got shut out by LA, and they lost 2-1 to Anaheim. How do you lose within a week twice to Anaheim and get outscored 6-2? They're not they're just not a good hockey team. You should not be getting skunked like that by the Anaheim Ducks. So, they're taking on Nashville or Nashville or they're taking on Toronto rather in their next game. So they've lost 4 in a row here. So Toronto really, like, if they just keep playing their game, I have no doubts that they should be able to win this one. No doubts whatsoever.
Yeah. No, I feel pretty confident in what the Leafs can do against Nashville. And like Nashville has struggled at home. Like home has not been good. Like, I mean, this season just hasn't been good for them. No matter what.
They've been far better at home than on the. At least they're over 500 at home. Their road record 8-21-5.
Yeah. 173 goals the Predators have scored this year.
Is that the lowest in the NHL?
That is the lowest in the NHL.
Yeah.
The Sharks have scored more. The Blackhawks have scored more.
Yeah.
Actually, the LA Kings have actually scored the same number of goals. Sorry. They have allowed the same number of goals. I was writing the wrong column.
Okay.
But
I was going to say, I'm like, what? How's that possible? They win every game 2-1?
I know. Like, the Sabres have scored more goals. The Bruins, who have stunk all year, have scored more goals. Like, this is not a good Nashville team. And I know this is going to be a lengthy road trip for the Leafs, but you got some matchups that you can take advantage of. Like, I remember when the California road trip used to be the graveyard for the Leafs.
Yeah.
This time around, they actually do everybody a favor of the NHL. I'm actually quite surprised at this because every time we always dread it because it's late games. Only one of those games is a late game. Now, it is a 10:30 start against the Sharks.
Those are brutal. We'll need some 5-hour energies to get through that one.
Yeah, I think, yeah. But I mean, we'll discuss a little bit more, but like the other 2 games are regular 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock starts.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, NHL, for that. Just a little.
Yeah.
Anybody who's concerned about the California road trip, don't be concerned this time around, especially those who need to get up early and go to work.
It's because they're weekend games, Dave. They're weekend games, and they want the Maple Leafs in prime time on Saturdays.
Absolutely.
That's why.
Pay the bills.
Is why. Yeah, exactly. Pays the bills. All right. Why don't we wrap things up here? That'll do it for us today on the podcast. I'd like to thank you all for listening and supporting the show. You could subscribe to the Locked On at Leafs podcast on all platforms and receive daily Leafs content. Follow myself on Twitter at Mickey_Canuck. Follow Dave at D_Morassutti, and follow the show as well at Locked On Leafs. We'll be back with another episode for you guys on Monday. Enjoy your weekends, folks. Enjoy the game tomorrow night. Until then, keep it locked right here on Locked On Leafs.